Welcome to Public Affairs on AWI TV. Once again, we are joined by Ambassador Jose Cuisia, direct and live from the Philippine Embassy. As you very well know, I've had a couple of interviews with the ambassador in the past. He's been very accommodating and one of the best ambassadors we've ever known. Ambassador Jose Cuisia, welcome to Public Affairs and thank you for joining us. First and foremost,
yes. And welcome to the Philippine Embassy here in Washington, D.C. It's great to see you here in Washington.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. First and foremost, we'd like to congratulate you, Ambassador Jose Cuisia, Jr., for the work that you do, the outstanding accomplishments you have achieved being the ambassador of the Philippines in the United States of America, based in Washington, D.C. Testament to that is we had awarded you the First Try Media Award of Recognition, the highest award of recognition ever given, and at the same time the City of Los Angeles honoring you for your service. So thank you so much for your service. Now, may we know...
Thank you, Awi, for your very kind words, but let me say that I could not have accomplished what we have accomplished if not for the excellent staff and officers that we have in the Philippine Embassy. You're just meeting two of them today, Lito Nayan and our economic officer and attorney Lilibeth Arbes, Almonte Arbes. She's also incoming economic officer because Lito will be recalled to the head office in Manila in a few months' time. They've been very, very helpful, like many other officers and staff that we have in the Philippine Embassy here in Washington, D.C.
Being the representative of the Philippines outside of the country, you are the best source of information. So what are the latest developments with regards to the Filipino community or with regards to the Philippines that will be of great interest to the Filipino-American community?
Well, of course, what is, I guess, coming out in many papers are the tremendous favorable economic performance of the Philippines, particularly when you look at the GDP growth for the first 9 months of 2012. That averaged 6.5%, which is the highest in Southeast Asia as of now. We're waiting for the fourth quarter figures probably by the end of the month, but we are quite optimistic that the 6.5% will probably be maintained for the whole year of 2012, making us one of the best performing economies in Southeast Asia and possibly even in Asia, because we're right now second only to China in terms of GDP growth rate for 2012. And we're optimistic that we will maintain that good momentum in 2013. The multilateral agencies like the IMF, World Bank, and the Asian Development Bank are all predicting that the Philippines will grow at least 6% in 2013. And we're optimistic we'll actually do better than that. We see that we have maintained a benign inflation in the country, low interest rates. This will, of course, mean more opportunities for growth in the economy. Our strong international reserves at $84 billion, these of course are record high, provides stability of the currency, and this is why there are many foreign investors who are taking a closer look at the Philippines. There's so much optimism and confidence in the Philippine economy. Our stock market is hitting all-time highs. It's one of the best performing stock markets in the world today. And we can be very proud of that accomplishment. This is why a number of publications have mentioned the Philippines, like The Economist, saying that it is an emerging giant in Asia. The Foreign Policy magazine has said that the Philippines is possibly the next Asian tiger, and many other publications have come out with very favorable comments about the Philippines. So.
That's wonderful news, really positive development in the economic situation of our country. Now, at the same time, I'm sure the future investors would be interested to know what would be the great investors, opportunities.
Well, the signing of the framework agreement by the Philippine government and the More Islamic Liberation Front, or MILF, augurs well for the country because for over 4 decades there's been turmoil in Mindanao. And Mindanao, as you know, is a very large island, very large areas that could be developed. And if this framework agreement results in a final peace agreement, and we're very optimistic that it will, maybe within the next 12 to 18 months. Tremendous opportunities for development in Mindanao. You know, Mindanao has very fertile land, and Mindanao has hardly been hit by typhoons, although recently, unfortunately, we had the Typhoon Pablo. But for many decades, Mindanao has not been really affected by too many typhoons, floods, and so on. And so Mindanao could be developed as the food basket for the Philippines and possibly even for Southeast Asia. So if we can ensure that peace and stability will prevail in Mindanao, I'm sure many foreign investors will be willing to come in and develop various sectors, including the agriculture sector and the industrial sector in Mindanao.
Mm-hmm. Ambassador, what is the current relationship of the Philippines with the United States? At the same time, may I ask you a question that would require a lot more information with regards to the agreements that have been signed recently with the United States? Let's say about trade and commerce opportunities, immigration, mentioning human trafficking, also perhaps on human rights, armed forces, the veterans, and terrorism.
Yeah. Well, let me start first with your first question, which was
the current relationship.
Current relations with the Philippines. As I have mentioned to you in the past, we have not seen better relations with the U.S. for some time. In fact, a senior U.S. official mentioned in his testimony to Congress when there was a hearing on the Philippines that his exact words was that the relations between the Philippines and the U.S. are at a renaissance. In other words, he welcomes the very favorable and very strong relationship that we have developed, particularly over the last 2 years and 3 months under the Aquino administration. They have noted that we have a leader who's strongly committed to good governance and anti-corruption, which is, of course, a welcome change. I think the U.S. government has come out very clearly commending President Aquino for his leadership in bringing about a change in governance in the Philippines. And that has also been, that has resonated well throughout the international community. So we are very pleased about the much stronger relations between the U.S. And the Philippines, and you can see that in terms of what assistance we have been getting from the U.S. on the military and security aspect. We got the doubling of our foreign military financing assistance, or FMF, from $15 million in 2011 to $30 million in 2012. We also were among the first recipient countries of a new fund called the Global Security Contingency Fund, and the Philippines is receiving about $16 million of the $40 million that has been committed over the next 3 years. So we're getting $16 million in 2012 out of the 2012 allocation. We got also a second round debt conversion amounting about $23 million. That was approved by the U.S. Treasury. And in the Partnership for Growth initiative that we have between the U.S. and the Philippines, we got a $39 million additional allocation that would be used particularly for economic development. No? So all of these are indications of a much better relationship between the Philippines and the United States.